Hilda, there's so many things. We're running out of time already, and I just want to make sure we have a chance to highlight. There's all the amazing people you met while touring with Hannah Block.
Yes.
Or even there locally in the Wilmington area. But as you think about that,
Ronald Reagan won.
Is that right?
And Merv Griffin and Frank Sinatra. I mean, I can go on and on
all
and on.
Folks that came to Wilmington, or is that right?
Or that we met someplace else. I know I judged the Miss Teenage pageant with Hannah in Richmond, Virginia, and had stars that were from Hollywood that were there, and it was just amazing the people that she knew. And I guess that's how I began to know people, you know, was I traveled so much.
Hilda, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and the one highlight of that was going to Japan.
Going to Japan?
Yes. I had forgotten that. I hadn't thought about that in years.
That must have been a long
I started thinking about,
yeah.
And about the most wonderful thing was going with my grandfather on a wagon hauling lettuce to the market in Wilmington. And that was quite, that was quite a shot, I will tell you. But there was so many things. When you start thinking about your past.
So many great memories, absolutely, that all add together. And unless you're prompted, you know, that's one of the great things about being a photojournalist or having a column. I know you don't call yourself a columnist because you've done so much work. So many columnists don't have the proficiency with a camera that you've obviously got even right here in front of you. You wouldn't be filmed without a camera in front of you. But the excitement there is your ability to really weave pictures in with the story. When we think back to, there was a column you were doing years ago in the Myrtle Beach area in alternatives and coast around town. And to see all of those pictures spread out on a 2-page spread, to see, I was so glad that Bill Darby, who then owned the papers, owns the paper now, had enabled that to have a 2-page spread, because when you weave through all that, it really enabled people to, on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, connect with so many amazing things you were doing.
I know, and too, with the, I got better and better with my photography, and that's because of Jack Thompson. And Jack's one of the best photographers I've ever
Your former husband, former
yes.
husband Jack Thompson.
Yes, and he's done some amazing things, especially around the Myrtle Beach area. His old Myrtle Beach pictures, I just love looking at them.
Well,
and I can remember when I was pregnant with our last son,
with Jackie.
There was one sunrise picture. We sit on that beach, wait for that sun to come up. I thought, God, I'm going to have this baby here. But I mean, there was so many fun things that we did, you know. But I do think he's one of the best photographers I've ever seen.
Truly, yes, anywhere, absolutely. And folks can catch him. Who was with us recently, was a guest with us recently on All American People. People can catch him online at allamericanpeople.com and watch his interview. One question, totally unrelated, Hilda. When did you first find out you had diabetes?
Well, I was around 6 years old.
Is that right? That long ago?
I was going to sleep in school on my desk, and I couldn't help it. I was just sleepy, and then they tested me, and I had diabetes. But it was in my family. My father died with it. My grandmother on his side died with it. And then, of course, I got it. But my brother didn't get it. And my daddy, of course, all of his brothers died, did not live. And so he was the one, I guess, that got it. So I think it skips from time to time.
How did that impact your life? How has it changed your life? So many folks aren't familiar with diabetes.
Well, you know, sometimes you can say it's a burden because you have to take, you know, get your blood out of your finger or your arm, and you have to test it, and you have to know how high your diabetes is, if you got to have a shot or if you don't have to have a shot. And I test 4 times a day.
Is that right? 4 times a day. This is the insulin.
So you could let it be like a, you know, a bad thing, but I've turned mine around to say that it has been good for me because I don't drink, I don't smoke, So, you know, some people say, well, don't you miss not drinking? Well, how do I miss it when I never had it?
Right, right,
you know?
Absolutely.
So, no, I don't miss it. And I think it made me popular in college because of the fact that I could drive all the drunks home.
You were always the designated driver.
Yeah, designated.
I love it, Hilda.
Yes.
That is amazing.
So,
that is amazing.
You know.
When did you ultimately end up in the Myrtle Beach area full time?
I came here in the 50s.
Okay, right.
Because I was doing I wrote the Miss Sun Fun pageant.
For the
Myrtle
Beach area?
Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And of course we had the pageant here and still having it.
Right.
But of course I'm not doing it. But anyhow, that's how it got started. And I also wrote the Miss Bikini Wahine pageant. And this was all under Fred Brinkman because I was PR for the chamber during his time.
Oh yeah, and Fred Brinkman went on to become the
Parks, Recreation, and Tourism.
The head of the statewide, yes. Which Chad Prosser recently
left. Oh, he was a brilliant man.
Right.
I think out of everybody that I can think of in Myrtle Beach, I think Fred Brinkman did more for this beach than anybody ever done.
Really?
And you know what surprises me is all these other people, they have pictures of them, they talk about them, they're in books from the chamber, but they don't say anything about Fred Brinkman. And you know, I remember when he stood up with the board and he said, we need an interstate.
Wow.
It was the first person I ever heard say that. And he knew it back then. But he couldn't get these people to understand that that's what we needed here for tourism. But now I'm thankful that there's somebody going to help us get it.
Yes, a whole lot of folks working hard on that now.
I really
do. Day in and day out, absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody needs to come to Myrtle Beach. I would not leave Myrtle Beach to live any place. I don't care where it is. Even if you said, I'm going to pay for your apartment or house or whatever, and you move there and no ma'am.
There's clearly
I'm not leaving.
Lots of good reasons why it was named All-American City's Vacation Destination of the Year.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Hilda, I'm embarrassed to say we've run out of time. You're willing to come back and be with us tomorrow?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Yes. That's tremendous. Okay. Stay tuned to a little more All-American People with Dr. Hilda Carter coming up next. You know, if you'd been doing a 30-minute interview with Hilda, wouldn't you have run out of time as well? Absolutely, you know you would have. And of course, the excitement here is that Hilda's willing to come back and be with us tomorrow, where we're going to get into some fascinating questions, even some that she doesn't want us to ask, including some questions about the most unusual things she's ever done, where she sees herself in 5 years from now, and who's the person she'd most like to meet. Stay tuned. Come on back tomorrow to be with us on All American People with Dr. Hilda Carter. Hilda, thanks so much for being with us.